Noob D&D Dad here, and we are talking session 47 of my son's campaign that I am the Noob Dad DM for, and we are in the basement of a castle. Dragonspear Castle, to be precise. Alright, when we last left off, we were in mid-battle with versus this cool looking guy here. Look at that stat block. Nope, nope, hang on. There it is. So the hurl flame attack is going to zero out one of the players. So we left off mid-battle, one flaming skeleton and three blackened other skeletons. The reason their bones are blackened is because my son did a fireball. So the one guy was left on fire, and they didn't quite know that that made him special. But when they, like I mentioned in the last one, when they shoot him with magic missile, and the parts of him that are on fire, when the magic missile hits, it puts out that portion of the fire, but then after the impact, it lights back up again. So that's like a hint to let you know that this isn't just some skelly that's on fire. So I always get really proud of like my special effects animations or death animations or like weapon or violence like animations where I basically just visually describe it to them. Like that's one of my favorite parts of being a DM. So whenever somebody gets zeroed out or brought down to 0 hit points, if it's not massive damage and they just are going into death saving throws, this is what I do. I'm recording in pro mode, so it won't let me flip the camera. So right there, I make little boxes. That's the pass box and the fail box for the death saving throws, those little blue boxes that you saw there. But it seems like in both of the parties that I DM for, that they don't even get a chance to fail all the like to do lots of the saving throws because one of their buddies will heal them in some way. And I don't know about you, and I think I've asked this before, but I let people administer a potion to somebody who's unconscious. Maybe that works, maybe it doesn't, but I think you could just kind of do it like on Princess Bride and just like kind of force it down there. I do that. What do you think? I've also had friendly NPCs that are with the party dig around in somebody's pouch and grab a healing potion out of their inventory and administer it to the person who's down. Do you ever do that? Okay, speaking of death animations that I'm really proud of. So when the flaming skelly got killed, his rib cage started to crack and crumble, and then like his spine broke, and then his head kind of fell down inside of his rib cage, and then once it made it in there, he like exploded. And I just thought that was such a cool image. And I'm like collecting all these death animations throughout these sessions that I'm like so proud of, and that I reuse if I can in the other group, like if they haven't seen it yet. And then I like watch to see how they react, like, ooh, do you think my death animation is cool? Side note, not really applying to this session, but vine blights. My favorite death animation for them is when they finally get zeroed out with their hit points, that their body, like, because it's like animated like plants, right, with like goop inside, and I make their blood like green, right? But when they die, all the vines that make up their body just basically lose the animation, so they just like plop down like wet spaghetti. And that's one of my favorite death animations. Share some of your favorite death animations if you would, so I can steal them. Okay, now the players wanted to find out how to get back up into the castle. Not sure why. I think they used a wand of secrets or whatever, but basically if you remember the spiral staircase that came down, that the stairs went like this, so then it became a slide and it was a trap. They went over there and they found that one of the bricks was less dusty than the other, and then they pushed it, and then the stairs kind of went back so that they could walk back up there if they wanted to. They didn't actually end up going back up there, so I'm not sure why they did that. Oh, so they fought these skeletons coming from afar, and if you remember, I had down the hall, I had a mimic as a chest, right? Because the players that were in jail had their stuff in chests, and I figured a third chest was in the hallway that would be a mimic. And I love mimics, and so I had them, the mimic kind of surprised them, so it got to do the pseudopod attack first, and it missed, and it hit the brick wall behind them, and I have it like shatter the bricks just to show like the force of the scary mimic pseudopod. Okay, so at the end of the hall, beyond the chest, where the door got broken up, open by the skellys, on the floor, there's like a big stone, like a piece of tile that's like raised a little bit, that you can see like orange glowy light coming from under it. And the players wanted to take like a short or long rest, and so I had them roll for perception, what they would hear, what the person awake would hear. And underneath the stairs, I had them hear like chains and see orange light coming out, and hear voices like chanting, and like the chains are making like an anchor sound, like clink, 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 clink. Because in the Sword Coast guide, it talks about there was like stuff going on underneath this castle, and I wanted there to still be stuff going on down there. And truth be told, that's as far as I had planned it. If the players would have tried to go down there, I would have had to come up with some underground stuff, which I would have enjoyed doing. But also, I was thinking, since the Vecna campaign is coming up and we need to start having like cultists, I was thinking that if they did go down there, there could be a slight tie to Vecna, like some Vecna cultists or something, so that when the plot does turn into that it's not like a total like ham-fistedness. So they decide to not take the bait and try to go down the scary orange glowing chain noise, chanting noise place, and they go up the stairs, and not the spiral stairs, but they go up the other stairs that that are behind the tile that's lifted up with the scary light, and they find a hatch. And then when they break open the hatch, dirt comes through. And so basically I had the hatch go like 110 feet away from the castle. And as they're popping up through the hatch, I have a bunch of rats start coming up behind them. But they're not rats, they're imps. And so just like I like death animations, I also like transformation animations. So these rats come up and they start like growing and stretching, and their fur is like spreading out, and it's like red and shiny underneath. So you think they're gonna like explode or something. And like looking at their faces as I was describing it was it was so gratifying, because like their faces were like, what is this? So my son's face is because it's like, what is this? I don't know. My friend's face is like, I've played a ton of D&D, like, what is this? So anyway, it's just very gratifying to watch if I can get a reaction out of them from descriptions I'm doing. So anyway, I just have these imps like start flying around them and attacking them. But ultimately, when things get too dire for the imps, I just have them turn invisible and just yeet themselves out of there. But I did create a death animation for the imps. When they die, they fall down to the ground and they burn. And they just like flames until they're totally gone, and there's just like a burnt outline of where their body was. So I decided that is the imp death animation. Question: can invisible imps be seen by other invisible imps? I genuinely don't know. Oh, the players looted. I think they looted the skeletons, which is weird. They got looks like they got a gem of brightness and an armor +1. And again, with the looting, I had them do the rolling magic table out of the DMG, because I absolutely love that. That's one of my favorite parts of DMing, is handing out treasure, honestly, randomly, because it's exciting. Okay, now at this point, I still am not sure what to do with the cousin character who has left. I've been debating like violent death, just leaving, whatever. And session 48 is the one where we truly see what happened. But for right now, no, I think I ended up retconning it, because they get back and he's still there. But I actually, so at the end of 47, I had them get back and he was still there, but I actually retconned that. And the two new friends, the two kids didn't show up, and so we just played their characters this time. But you'll see in session 48 that I retconned the character being dragged underground. So there's like a blood trail and like a dragging mark. And so we'll go into what happens to him, his fate, in the next session. And a quote from my friend that I was very proud of. He said, "This place feels like it's on top of the abyss." Like after I was describing the imps and the underground light and noises and stuff. And I'm just like, I like that. I like that. So yeah, stay tuned for session 48 of my Son and Friends campaign, and also for more sessions of the Army Vet campaign when I finally catch up. So thanks for watching, and let me know what you think. Yeah, this has been session 47 of my son's campaign. See you in the next one. Bye.